Hello and welcome to Falcon IT Services Cybersecurity 2024 Part 1 Introduction. My name is Miguel Fra and I will be your presenter. If you've taken some of our prior cybersecurity courses, you know that we usually give them once per year and they are online and there's a test at the end. This year, 2024, we have changed our format. We will provide 6 individual shorter length courses available on YouTube. You can study the materials on your own time, and we will provide the proctored online exam quarterly, which you can take in order to get your certificate of completion. So after years of perimeter systems being hardened against attacks, hackers have turned their attention to end users who they consider the weak link in the cyber defense chain. For this reason, it's imperative that organizations teach their employees the skills necessary to identify and countermeasure cybercrime in the workplace. This course is intended to teach those skills and to measure each employee's skill level in order to identify those that require additional training. The objective of each organization should be to have employees that have a baseline level of cybersecurity awareness. So we have moved from a simple courseware where you're just taking an exam and we're finding out how much you know, to being enrolled in a system where we are continuously helping employees to reach higher and higher levels of cybersecurity awareness in order for you to be better protected and to help protect your employer as well. So we have a cybersecurity assessment risk, which will measure each user for a baseline level awareness, and that's what we're going to do with the proctored exam. Our goal will be to improve behavior, find out which behaviors are risky, which users are doing risky things that they may not be aware of, and help them to understand how to change or modify these behaviors for better behaviors. We will be evaluating the process of the users, their test scores, and their online profiles, and work together with the help desk and with our SOC, our Security Operations Center, to kind of close the gaps. And like I said, our objective here is not to just give you a test or give you some learning materials. It is to help you elevate your cybersecurity awareness. So this courseware is it's 6 parts, and then there's a quiz. The first part, which is what we're doing now, is the introduction. Then comes physical security, email security, web security, social engineering, privacy, and then there will be a quiz. The first 6 parts are online. You can study them at your leisure. And then the 7th part, it's a proctored online exam. And if you want to know the exam dates, you could go to our website, and there will be a calendar showing the exam dates for you to take the exam. So when people think of cybersecurity, they often think of keeping out the bad guys. But in fact, cybersecurity is a lot more. Cybersecurity consists of what is called the CIA triad, and it is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when we're dealing with cybersecurity, we have to take all 3 of these things into account. I'm going to tell you a quick story to demonstrate how these things affect computer security. And it's sort of a true story. It's loosely based on something that actually happened in a place that I worked at. So in our scenario, let's say that a particular person who was no longer employed at the company came in to the company because his key card access still worked, went into the sales floor during lunch when it was not busy, sat in front of a computer of an employee who had left their computer on and unlocked because they had left and gone up to go somewhere, and proceeded to send an email to the entire company staff, bad-mouthing not only the company but saying some very unsavory things about the owner of the company. Then the person proceeded to delete files which that employee had access to before leaving. So the way that scenario touched on all 3 facets of the CIA triad is when that person came and was able to get into the building because their key card still worked, that's a confidentiality issue. He accessed a system, got into a place that he had no business in being. when he sat in front of a computer which he had no authorization to use, that is also a confidentiality issue. Next, when he sent an email to the entire company, that became an integrity issue because the recipients of the email are thinking that that email came from the person who owned that computer, when in fact that's not really the case. And then when he proceeded to delete information that was on the network, that became an availability issue because he kept people from being able to access the data that they needed to work. So you could see here in this one scenario how all three facets of the CIA triad are very important for the overall health of a computer network. So why do we need security? Well, here's some sobering facts, and this is from CISA, and CISA is the Computer and Information Security Administration of the United States, and here it shows that 1 in 3 homes with computers have some type of malware, some type of malicious software running either on their home network or on one of their computers. 65% of Americans who went online received at least one online scam offer. Worldwide, consumers lost $358.21 on average, dealing with online crime. And 47% of American adults have had their their personal information exposed by cyber criminals. And I'm willing to bet that this is probably a lot higher. So as it looks like right now, we have about a 50% chance that our information's out there. I personally have a credit lock on all 3 reporting agencies. So when I have to go and purchase a vehicle or apply for a new credit card, I have to contact the credit reporting agencies, unlock my credit for a predetermined amount of time so that I could go and apply. And I do this, and it's kind of difficult to do this, but I'd rather deal with that than deal with all the lost time that could be spent by recovering from an event such as an identity theft, which could take weeks and months sometimes, or years to resolve. You can also see here that 600,000 Facebook accounts get hacked every single day. And not only Facebook accounts, but websites also. And once these websites or once these Facebook accounts get hacked, they become conduits of what's called a watering hole, where hackers go in there and they plant their malicious programs so that people visiting those sites can also get hacked. And we're going to learn about that. And the number one cyber crime is the imposter scam. The imposter scam, if you've ever seen that movie, Catch Me If You Can, that is social engineering, and where people pretend to be somebody else in order to either steal information from you or get into some place where they don't have access to get into. Again, perimeter systems have become hardened after years of scrutiny. Hackers have turned their attention to softer targets. End users who are oblivious to cybersecurity because they've never been trained. They don't, you guys may be doctors, you may be lawyers, but I mean, not everybody is a cybersecurity expert. And this is very, very important, okay? You cannot just think, well, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm going to concentrate on my thing, and I'm just going to leave cybersecurity to my IT company. You have some part in this. If you sit in front of a computer and you use this, no matter what your trade is, I'm not telling you have to be an expert, okay? But you cannot, it's no longer the option to put it off and hand it off to somebody else and saying, this is not my problem, this is all our own problem. Because what hackers consider as low-lying fruit are untrained users. Social engineers also go after untrained users who are not aware of all the different types of scam. And frankly, a lot of untrained users fall for things like password spraying because they just don't know what to do or what not to do. And this is what hackers really salivate over. So the objective here is to make sure that everybody here has at least a baseline level of cybersecurity awareness. Now, how common is hacking? Well, it's not even making the mainstream news. That's how prevalent it has become. A week before I put this presentation together, I went online and looked at what are the, what were the big hacks of the week. And in 1 week's time, as you can see here, some big names had some problems. We have by this article here, by the Financial Review, Pizza Hut was hacked. Another one shows Air Canada. Another one shows MGM and Caesars, which I'm sure we've all heard. And then there's another one where the International Criminal Court, or ICC, was also hacked. And, you know, a lot of these are not mainstream media. We only heard from Fox about, in this particular article, from MGM and Caesars Entertainment. And it's not making the TV rounds anymore because it's just, you know, it's become so common. And so that's why we need this training, and that's why we need this level of cybersecurity awareness to make sure that we do not fall for this. And you know, if you look here, there's other articles. I mean, there's all kinds of hacking that's going on, and you are the biggest stakeholder in your own security. So don't just leave it up to the cloud. Don't just leave it up to the IT department. Don't just leave it up to the organization that's handling your data. It is much as of your problem as it is everybody else's. And it's not just at work, but this is going to help you in your home life as well. So why is it all our problems? And I'm going to show you a quick, you know, email that I received about 2 years ago. And if you think that there's nothing that you could do about it, this is an example here of where there is something that you could do about it. So I received an email from a large financial company where I had to send them my some information. I had to send them a W-2 or some other form of tax document. They wanted my bank statement. They also wanted a copy of my driver's license. And it's part of their, you know, when you're doing wire transfers, you know, they want this information to keep on file. Well, anyway, so I replied to them, fine, where do you want me to send this information to? And their reply, the customer service agent said, just attach it to this email and reply. And I thought, wait a minute, why is this company that's owned by a Fortune 500 asking me to send this sensitive information by email? So I wrote back and I told them I'm not doing it by email, there's got to be another way. And that's when the employee forwarded me another email, and it showed me this link here. And the company does have a proper way of doing it, which is where you upload those documents to their website securely. But if I hadn't insisted on that, I would have been sending my information. The person would have received it. It would have sat in their mailbox, and it would have not only gone unsecured, but it would have been sitting in somebody's mailbox. If that mailbox later on gets hacked or accessed, then my information is out there. So you do have some level of control over your information. And a lot of times when you see something that just doesn't seem right and you insist, that you may get a different way of doing something. In this case, I don't know if the employee was just being lazy or God knows. I mean, but again, once I told them I'm not doing it that way, then they actually offered me a second, more secure option. So one of the reasons that we're having so much trouble is rapid development. The internet has really caused an explosion of software applications as well as the cloud. And when you're developing and developing and developing, sometimes these programs, there's not enough time to test it, to get all the kinks out, to make sure that there's no security gaps before there's a new version of it. So we're in this rapid development stage, and that's why you see so many things on the news and so many ways that a hacker is able to access systems in an unauthorized manner. There's also data sprawl. We are putting all our information out there, and that information is not just going to where you think it's going, but sometimes you put your information in one place and it could wind up in 3 or 4 places. To give you a quick example, if I had sent my financial information back to that person's email, I'd think, well, that information may just be sitting in that person's mailbox on a server, but it's going to sit on their server, it's going to sit on their Outlook and their computer. Is it going to sit on their phone? Is it synchronizing with their phone? Is their mailbox synchronizing with their tablet? So that information could be spread out. So we're putting a lot of information out there, and so there's a lot of possibilities for that information to be accessed. So Willie Sutton, who was a famous bank robber in the 1920s, has a famous quote. A newspaper reporter asked him, Willie, why do you rob banks? And his apt reply was, well, that's where the money is. And if you think that by moving your data now to the cloud that you're going to be impervious to hacks, well, the hackers are following the money, just like Willie Sutton did. They know that information is now going to the cloud, so they're going to start going after the cloud systems. And as you can see here, Rackspace had an entire farm of exchange servers that were cryptoed, and their customers were without email for weeks, because of this outage. Here you could see that large companies like Honda and Pepsi's were not able to pay wages to their workers because they used a system by Kronos where their cloud systems was hacked, and then once that was done, nobody could punch in or out in these large companies because it was a cloud-based timekeeping system. So again, just because you move it to the cloud doesn't mean that you can just do away with cybersecurity or be less careful. Again, vendors in the cloud have some level of responsibility, but it's a shared responsibility. You also have a level of responsibility along with that. Now, AI is going to play an important role in cybersecurity on both sides. If you listen to people that are going to tell you that AI is going to end this cyber problem, I don't believe that that's the case. Yes, AI is going to be used to catch the bad guys, but the bad guys are also going to use AI to try to do more bad things. So it's almost going to be like this warring robots, right? So again, you cannot rely on that. And what I'm just trying to tell you here is that you have to make sure that you understand that you have a level of responsibility. Now, AI is going to play an increasing role in cybersecurity on both sides. For example, with the bad guy side, we've always taught you to look at emails, look for bad grammar or misspelled words to see if that's one of the red flags. But with AI crafting emails, they're going to be really good. There's going to be no spelling mistakes. They're going to look super professional. And again, on the flip side, where AI is guarding against cyber attacks, AI is not perfect either. In this example here, AI could be poisoned. In this program here called Nightshade, little tiny bits are injected into into an image that's being used in training. And if enough of these bits are inserted in strategic areas, the way that this Nightshade algorithm works, it could completely trick AI. So here you can see where AI was asked to create a photo of a dog, a car, a handbag, and a hat. It created perfect images, right, in this clean model, but with a little bit of poison inserted into what AI used for training. As you can see here, when it created a dog, it created a six-legged dog. When it created a handbag, it created a handbag out of metal. And with enough poison bits, the AI thought that, when you asked it to create a dog, it actually created a cat. When you asked it to create a car, it created a cow. So AI can also be tricked. And if you read the news, you know that AI is prone to something called hallucination. So they haven't quite perfected that technology yet. So it's not something that we're going to be able to fully depend on to keep us safe for now. Again, security is an individual as well as a business investment. Learn as much as you can so that you can help prevent cybercrime. Individual training and awareness, what we're doing today, is an additional layer added to your company's existing hardware and software security infrastructure. So you, as the person that's sitting in front of the computer, you have a shared responsibility. Always have situational awareness and always know what you're getting into. As the old adage goes, think before you click. When you're in auto mode, I know we're busy, we've got deadlines, we've got a lot of work to do, but it's very dangerous to just be in auto mode, just working, tapping, clicking, mousing without thinking. It's better to pause and to think things through. Now, as you can see in this chart, the way that attacks get to us, a lot of people think that phishing, things like are probably the number one, but as you can see here, phishing is a very small piece of the pie. The majority of security incidents are the result of viruses, insiders, okay? And an insider could be a person that could be either malicious or unintentional. If you foolishly click on a link, that's an insider. Or if you do something purposefully malicious, you're an insider as well. There's device theft, has a pretty sizable piece of this chart here. And then we have SQL injection, phishing, and we have web-based attacks, which we're going to learn about those shortly. So, security is inversely proportionate to convenience. If you look at this chart, the higher you go up on the security axis, the lower you are on the convenience axis. And if you look at the horizontal axis of convenience, the further right you go in convenience, the lower you're going to be at security. Now, unfortunately, this is a conundrum that I don't know who could solve it at this moment, but it just holds true. If you want things to be very convenient, they're just not going to be very secure, and vice versa. If you're as old as I am, you could probably remember the days when you could just kind of waltz through the airport and get into an airplane with just your driver's license and a ticket, right? A boarding pass. And now it's not quite so. When I was a kid, I remember seeing in the news of airplane hijackings and things like that. You don't really see that anymore, right? But at the same time, we have been inconvenienced. You can no longer just kind of go through get to the airport 15 minutes before the plane departs and get on the airplane. We now have to go through a tedious process, but it's meant to keep us secure. So again, security and convenience, they're proportionately inverse to one another. So you cannot spend your way out of cybersecurity. You cannot cloud your way out of cybersecurity. You can't isolate yourself out of cybersecurity. You can't go off the grid, right? Almost every business has a computer to operate, so you think, oh my God, so what can I do? Well, what you can do is you could practice cyber hygiene. You can become aware and be responsible for your part in the cybersecurity function, and you can make preparations for an event. So, when they tell you in the news that it's out of your control, this is just happening and it's just nothing you can do about it, that's really not true. There is some level of control that you have. And that's sitting here and taking this course is one of the first step, and one of the most powerful things that you could do to help prevent cybercrime. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the second part.